Wanting to be seen as a creative person is a pretty important thing in our culture. Everyone is wanting to be the next big idea guy that everyone goes to for a new show, album, the next like AI slot machine. But a lot of people don't follow through on their ambitions and what is stopping them. Maybe that's you. Maybe I'm talking to you directly. I hope that maybe this video will help you think through it and figure out what exactly is the blockage between you and your dreams. Hi there. I'm Ritzy Tritzy. I have been a comic artist for about 6 years now. I started during the pandemic where, there was nothing better to do, so I thought might as well give this a go. And I think that is probably our first place to talk about why people don't follow through on their creative goals, and that is time. It does take a lot of time to become an artist, and that's something that a lot of people don't have. Everyone is working jobs, having family members to take care of, and any of that can stop whatever career aspirations or creative ambitions you have in their tracks. It's a difficult thing to talk about, and it's also a very personal thing to talk about. Everyone's life is very, very different. I am definitely not trying to provide a one-size-fits-all solution here or, anything like that. I do think that for some things, you have to figure out a scope that fits to you currently. What your manageable level looks like is going to be very different depending on the person, but there are ways to be able to work around your schedule. So for instance, if you want to make a comic, you're not going to be able to start that big 10-year journey right out the gate. Match the scope of your project to what you're currently able to put out on a regular basis. And so if you're not able to do all that much that regularly, then do not commit to a giant project. If you really have this world that you've been thinking of for so long, try to find an angle on it that is a very bite-sized portion. 1 or 2 locations, 1 conflict. You need to build up your skills. You need to know that the way to build up those skills and be able to get to higher heights is by failing quickly. The next point that is related to time and time investment is skill level. A lot of people say, I can't start my project because I'm just not good enough. I don't have the experience to do what I want. And so I would ask, what exactly do you want to do? And this isn't meant to be like a confrontational question or anything like that. It is meant to be a clarifying question. Write down exactly what you are wanting to be as a creative person. Because a lot of people, I think when they're starting out, they have this initial idea that is really inspiring them. And they think, well, I'm just going to have one project that I'm known for. A lot of people, I don't think that's the case. This is just what you're currently interested in, but it doesn't mean that your creative journey is going to stop and start on the whims of one project. Most likely, this is just the first of many projects that you're wanting to tackle. I think a lot of the hesitation that comes from not being quote unquote good enough, whatever that might look like, I think it comes down to our culture's fear of failure. It's definitely expedited by things like the internet, but obviously not caused by it. Being able to see how well everyone is doing around you, it is not a good feeling. And so that makes you think like whatever you do, it has to be just as good, if not better than those people, because you need to be in the in-group. I think something that is forgotten is the penalties that you're feeling for this sort of quote unquote failure on your part to be a professional creative in any field is more often than not self-imposed. Sort of having these rules that only apply to us, even though other people just get to do whatever they want. And I think that shackle on you of like, I'm judged on a different scale to other people for some arbitrary reason. This is what is actually going to stop you from making it. When you're just starting out, no one knows who you are, and that is a legitimate blessing. That means that you have the ability to fail and try lots of different new things because you're not chained. You are able to do things and make mistakes because no one is going to see them. It's actually liberating if you think about it, because you are able to find who you are creatively and the stories you want to tell, the things you want to say, so that you can sort of work on it over time, and then you'll just show up one day and just sort of take the world by storm. So let's say you finally gotten yourself up to the plate and you're wanting to make whatever your project is. The first question is how? Look up whatever you're wanting to do on YouTube and see what tutorials are available. There is so much free stuff available on YouTube to learn from. You want to get a taste without committing a lot of money to it, especially if you have, again, people to take care of. Personally, I started trying to draw both on paper as well as just on my phone. I downloaded Ibis Paint X, a pretty popular drawing app that is free. I was just able to mess around with the brushes there, try to figure out the basics of digital art just using my finger. I also think now is a good time to talk about the difference between learning a skill as a hobby and learning a skill for a profession. Now, in the modern day, everyone is always told they need to find ways to like turn their hobbies into a source of income, but I think that that is quite terrible because turning everything into a way to make money is to remove the joy. It's going to take the point of doing it out because it'll just be a job and no one wants to be on the clock all day for their job. So I do think that there's a very different mindset. Learning something for the purpose of making money, you want to be as efficient as possible to get to a competent skill level where a hobbyist can take a much slower approach to it. And I would say it's a much more satisfying path. A sort of process that I put in place to make sure that I was always consistently improving is something that I call the second take method. You make your comic panel or your illustration, whatever you are currently working on, and you find only one thing to improve on with your next creative work. You're taking a lot of the guesswork out. I know that it definitely can be stressful to find where to go from where you are currently. Doing it this way, not trying to fix everything at once, but really breaking it down into one step at a time, you're going to build up all of your skills slowly by doing it this sort of like piecemeal way. It is not nearly as daunting as, you know, looking at an illustration that you've done and going, well, it's got to be better next time. What is better? You need to be able to find specifics in what you are doing, even if all you know that you want is immediately what's ahead of you. Repetition is really the key here, trying to get through things as fast as possible, even if you're not fully on board with it. As long as you're not signing any contracts of any kind, you can always just redo what you're currently working on at a later date when you are more experienced and you can really analyze why you still want to come back to this work, what you like about it, what needs to change, that kind of stuff, because so many creatives reuse ideas constantly because we just have things that we want to keep seeing different angles on. Using an idea for an early project does not lock you out of coming back to that in the future. If anything, it means that the next time you do it, it'll be more successful. I don't think just remaking the same thing over and over again is the best option. You're building up that bigger whole of yourself as a creative. That is what is going to really elevate all of your future work and make it to the level that you are comfortable with it and you are really enjoying your work, because that is what learning a creative skill is about at the end of the day. Your personal satisfaction and enjoyment with it, and nothing should be getting in the way of that. You need to make sure that what you are currently doing is for the benefit of you, because who else is it for? One thing that is definitely going to ruin your chances at being a creatively fulfilled person is being too negative to yourself, not supporting yourself through the low points of your creative journey that have to come with the high points. You are the one that's going to have to make this stuff. It won't be anyone else. No one else is going to be sitting by you, holding your hand. It's going to be on you. You should be a good friend to yourself. That is something that I think a lot of people forget, that being a good friend to others also means yourself. So I think that is it for this video. I'm Ritzy. As you've been seeing this whole time, I have a comic. This one is called Beeswax. It is available on Webtoon Canvas. It is about two witches who fall back in love 10 years after a tragic breakup. You can read ahead on Patreon for $2 a month. If you want to see any new videos from me, they'll also be available on Patreon early for $5 a month. I hope to see everyone around, especially making their own work. If anyone got anything from this, I would be very, very happy. If you start on your creative journey, I can't wait to see what you have in store for everyone, what great creative projects you've got in mind. Have a good one.